High 97 basically just cut Ebro in the morning. Boom! The big news! What's up, YouTube? It's K-On, aka K-On Puts You On, and today we're talking about the worst decision that Hot 97 could have done. The end of Hot 97 as we know it with Ebro in the morning. And as always, if you like the content, make sure you like and subscribe and comment down below what you think. So if you guys don't know, Hot 97 is a New York radio station. They have a segment called Ebro in the Morning, which has been a very predominant hip-hop music program. Within this radio show, outside of their just regular normal radio, like these are the top jams of the year, they would have actually rapper interviews. And this program, this Ebro in the Morning station, has had a lot of controversy. But with that controversy, there's actually been very solid interviews and very well thought out platforming, as well as just regular interviews that they've done. It was a 13-year long show. It's been on 13 years. That's longer than probably some of y'all been alive. Okay, I know I'm unk, but y'all are little babies. Okay, if y'all are 13 in here, thank you for being here. Y'all love music and stuff. But now, I'm not gonna lie, when I said that Ebro in the Morning was known for controversy, Ebro, which is the main person of this 3-person radio show, it goes Ebro, Laura, and Rosenberg. Ebro is the old head hater. Okay, to give context, when I first probably got introduced to Hot 97, it was like 2016, 2015. So you know, you had Lil Uzi Vert coming up, you had like Rich Homie Quan, you had Lil Yachty, you had kind of this area of southern rapping, southern music. This was like the era of like right a little bit after mumble rap, kind of going into like melodic rap, like poppy, hyper poppy type of sounds. Like, you know Lil Uzi Vert, you know Lil Uzi, you know XO Tour Life, like we know Lil Yachty, you know a boat, you know we know him. So this was the prime of them coming up. This was before they got very, very mainstream appeal. And they had a lot of old heads mad at them.
All them niggas sound the same.
Because the era of hip-hop as they knew it was kind of like slipping through their fingertips. And this was kind of the area of like 21 Savage. Again, like Atlanta rap was really popping off. So you had the Migos doing really well. I think Culture came out around then. So the classic New York boom bap hip-hop rappers were kind of fading out as this new southern Atlanta era was coming in. Ebro, who's based in New York, I think originally from the West Coast, did not like that. He did not like kind of this new era of rap coming in that wasn't lyrical miracle driving in the sea.
That shit is fucking trash, dog. Get the fuck off the airwaves.
I'm not a rapper, okay? This is why I stopped my rap career. I'm not a rapper. And that's where a lot of his clips blew up. I mean, we know about the Lil Uzi. You're not gonna make it in 5 years.
I do that to your young cats to see what y'all really built.
Hey,
though.
you heard me? I'm
really
too young.
I know you're respected.
Cool.
You fell off at the end.
Yeah.
Leave that.
Hey, listen, it's gonna be a lot of young guys coming up here and they ain't gonna want to rap on that. I'm trying to tell you, it's changing.
Yo, look.
It's changing.
I hope they change.
It's changing, bro.
I hope they change. But as I've seen with all you little young motherfuckers that think you nice.
Yeah.
He is pretty nice.
You nice.
Yeah, I'm good.
Y'all get to like 27, 28, and y'all niggas get to struggling, and y'all be trying to come back and find that sound.
There's the Lil Yachty.
Another rapper with Lil in their name is offended. Lil Yachty's up now.
Who?
Exactly.
If you're in the car,
But if you're under 21, he's that guy.
The kids love him.
He sounds like they love him too, rapping about nothing.
Lil Yachty.
Ebro, why are you? I think this is a bad idea.
Why?
Right, and Rosenberg, I think, was more tapped in with like kind of the younger crowd. Laura as well, she was just good vibes, to be honest, and she was also pretty tapped in. But Ebro was the hater, like that's what he was known for. So while this program was bumping up hip hop in a way, it was also kind of doing damage to the game or fulfilling a need that the older heads were looking for. As like, yeah, you tell Lil Uzi Vert he's not gonna be a rock star. He's not a rock star. He's not gonna make good music. The old heads ate that up. They was in there eating. And then my generation, which was like, I was like 15, 16 at the time, were confused. Like this was like 10 years ago. I'm like, Lil Uzi's bumping. Like he's good, and he's still good to this day. And so Ebro has been wrong on multiple occasions with him being a hater. But that's just kind of how it goes. It's kind of who Ebro is. And I like that he expresses his opinion. However, like, I think there can be kind of negative damage done when you are a hater. Like, when you're just hating. I think he wasn't looking at things at, like, a holistic and nuanced nature. It was kind of, like, black and white. Where I think now he's kind of gotten better at doing that. But we'll get into the now of everything. Hot 97 had a big change, okay? The CEO of the parent company of Hot 97 recently changed. They were bought out, I think, a couple years ago by Media Holdings Co. And allegedly, according to Ebro, they got beef. They got beef. You know what I'm saying? They clashing a little bit.
But I told you, listen, if you listen to Ebro in the morning, I told y'all they was hunting. I told you they was hunting.
And because of that, High 97 basically just cut Ebro in the morning. Boom! The big news! The big news! Yeah. So High 97 basically just cut Ebro in the morning. And Ebro had been alluding to this kind of, like a big change was going to happen kind of for a while, that him and the owner weren't really getting along. And so kind of wasn't a surprise to big Ebro fans and Ebro himself when they got cut. However, it was kind of like just decided one day that they were done, and then they didn't get to continue their show.
But I've never had an opportunity to say, like, thank you. You know what I mean? On any show. And most radio hosts, no matter how long you work there, you don't get to say goodbye. I mean, people worked at Today Show for 20 years and don't get that.
So they didn't get like a farewell tour. They didn't get like a Dwayne Wade kind of like play this last season and then you're done, like your contract's up. They literally just fired them like they were any regular employee, which to me is kind of insane given that Ebro was on there for 13. Ebro, Laura, and Rosenberg all were there for 13 years. 13, that's over a decade, and you're going to cut them like nothing. That's kind of how the workplace goes. So if you haven't had a job yet, no matter what field you're in, you might just get cut. Like, you just got to be okay with that. It's insane. This is capitalism. This is capitalism. But whatever. Following that, Drake gets involved. Now, anywhere where hip-hop, culture is involved, Drake is going to be there to be Drake.
So 3:30 a.m. Saturday into Sunday, Drake DMs Ebro. Die slower. We got some shit for you. Ebro replies, relax. You're salty about losing to Kendrick. You're not mad at me. Love, bro.
Slow. And basically was like, I'm happy you got fired. Live in this. Live in your filth, basically. So Drake gets involved. I just gotta mention Drake because we need to have a record of Drake's history somewhere, bro. And so we gotta have it here. So let's get into why Ebro thinks he got cut. Ebro thinks he got cut, one, because he didn't really get along with the CEO and the new ownership with this parent company just buying them out. And he alleges that his political affiliation also got him cut and that he wasn't afraid to be vocal about where he stood politically.
Well, bro. They need my shit talking anti-Netanyahu, anti-government, progressive shit out the way, bro.
Recently, they had Andrew Cuomo come on the station, and it was a big, big media clip. It was during kind of this New York big election. If you're not tapped in with, like, Zohran Mamdani, there was basically a massive election for New York, and you kind of had this underdog come in and take the spot. But one of the big opponents at the time was Andrew Cuomo. That was like the runner-up in that party. And Andrew Cuomo was kind of coming under fire for having the president of the United States, the Orange Man, support him, and him being on the other side politically. You don't want your op supporting you, because then it looks like to your friends that if the op's supporting you, you're the op. You know what I'm saying? Like, Trump was supporting Cuomo, who is supposedly a Democrat, and so basically that didn't click. That's the context here.
No.
Trump said you're his candidate. If he had to pick a bad Democrat or what did he say? Or a
communist.
Or a communist, he's picking you.
Hello?
I think that they cut him off.
Andrew Cuomo just hangs up the phone, which is definitely like not what you're supposed to do. It looks really bad. Looks like you're avoiding kind of the conversation, the topic. And that's a huge viral moment. It's a big, big clip. So Hot 97, low-key, as of recently, was doing really, really well. However, that political moment, Ebro, I think, quotes that as a reason why they ended. Why the show's, like, not going on. And kind of, like, why things aren't working out. Which I think is, like, kind of an understandable statement. This is what he releases right after the show ends. Now, let's get into the reason why I think he actually got cut. But because of that, we need to go into the cast. So, the new cast on 97 is 3 people. They did basically the same exact gender statistics and replacement. So, there's 2 men and 1 woman. I think the 1 woman is the front runner. Her name is Lana J. Harris. I think she will be probably the biggest voice within that room, kind of taking Ebro's spot within that. I do believe she has, like, the biggest following, too, I think, out of the 3 of them. And honestly, all of these picks are extremely odd. I don't know why they would choose them necessarily to replace Ebro in the morning. And that's because of multiple reasons. So, Lana J. Harris seems to do kind of like political-based and just any type of news topic content. I think anything relevant she'll kind of talk about and speak about. She is like a classic journalist. I think she does writing journalism too.
Gen Z just overthrew the government in Nepal. But people who do things to kids typically are not afforded. You know, I don't know what these people are after. Food stamps is just one part of that. And
as well as video. So she's your classic journalist. Like, she just writes about whatever's popular, especially like within social media. So politics are her main bag, and she seems to be very left-leaning, which is important, and I'll explain why. So that's kind of like where she's leaning. Then there's Rondell Smith. Now, Rondell Smith is an interesting character here because he doesn't seem to have kind of a journalist approach or hip-hop background. Neither does Lana J. Harris. I don't think has a hip-hop background really either. He does a lot of, like, talks about sobriety and being sober, and it's actually very beautiful. I actually really love his platform. As well as Lana J. Harris, she seemed to have cool content too. But Rondell Smith is talking about sobriety and being sober and kind of interviewing people who are in recovery and are sober, and it's a beautiful thing, as well as the website.
Sobriety is addiction is a mother, man, and I think drinking non-alcoholic drinks is like getting a massage with somebody with no arms, you know.
So his website is also based around sobriety, and so a lot of his topics and a lot of his Instagram platform has been that about sobriety, which I think is very beautiful and very cool. So that's Rondell Smith. Next we have Million, and he goes by My Name's Million on Instagram, and he has probably the most interesting platform. Mind you, this is a New York-based platform, right? So you'd think you'd probably get people from New York. I think all these people are from Atlanta, I think. But My Name's Million, his whole brand so far has been that he is from Atlanta.
Are you from Atlanta?
Yeah.
What part of Atlanta are you from?
West Side, Ashby.
Are you from Atlanta? Man, yeah, for sure. What part of Atlanta are you from?
He interviews people about Atlanta. He talks to them about what makes them Atlanta, what it takes to be from Atlanta, and kind of his favorite spots. And he's doing like on-street interviews. And then I went to his YouTube page because I'm like, okay, maybe his YouTube's different. He doesn't really post on YouTube, and then also he has a couple hip-hop conversations, videos about the Drake and Kendrick beef, but nothing else as I can see scrolling down his page. So, also not hip-hop based, and his content's kind of like sporadic a little bit, but it's Atlanta based, so it's kind of weird to have him go from Atlanta based content into New York hip-hop radio station. But maybe they're going in a different direction with the hip-hop space.
Twerk, man, y'all don't shake your butt no more. God, dog, y'all worried about shooting and fighting, bro. What is going on?
Hip-hop, I feel like, started failing kids when they didn't give you dances that you had to learn
Thank you.
to show up in the club, and you had to crank that Soulja Boy. You had about 16 dances
100%.
you had to know before you showed up at the club. They don't have that.
But I think the new cast is very wildly different from where they've been at, because like Hot 97, in my mind at least, not being from New York, I don't know what the other programs are like, but to me this segment has been hip-hop kind of specific, and the demographic has been within that new music era and kind of like what's happening within that, as well as being political as well. I have seen their political stances. Specifically Ebro, I feel like, is a very vocal, politically based commentator. But none of these people are. None of these people are like hip-hop commentators. Lana J. Harris is politically based. The other two I don't think have any real stances within hip hop or politics, which is very, very strong. I think to replace those people when that's kind of been a core of Ebro in the morning, at least in a social media realm, maybe on air it'll be very, very different. Ebro said that one of the reasons he thinks he was cut was due to political reasons. Like I said, Lana J. Harris, a left-leaning political commentator, journalist, I don't see that being a reason given this pick. Ebro made this statement before they were picked also, so I think it's important to give context there. So I really don't believe that it was because he was politically charged. I genuinely don't think that, given that Rondell Smith is talking about sobriety and Lana J. Harris is like left-leaning, so I can't imagine that they are expecting a very hard right demographic to come from these two people and right-wing conversations and think pieces to come from these people as well. I assume it will be left-leaning. Also, they're from Atlanta, so yeah, I feel like they probably will be left-leaning maybe. But who knows? You know, we'll just have to see as time goes on. But Lana J. Harris, I think, has a reputation on her social media, at least, of being left-leaning. So we'll have to see. The beef between Ebro and the CEO, that could be very valid. However, my thoughts on why they were actually cut are a little bit more economically based. I happen to do a little peek-see at their website. Media Co. Holdings Incorporated have a website where it basically has a part where it says investors. I click on that. Also, the website UI is ugly. It's disgusting. They need to change that, please. But I clicked the investors tab, and I'm like, oh, this will be interesting. Let's see who's invested, because maybe that'll like show who is politically affiliated. They're a publicly traded company, and their stock is down like 40%. They're not doing good. They are cooked. They're on fire, bro. They are burning right now. They are burning. They're worth like $1.24. I think they're worth like 60 cents. So they are cooked. They are not doing good. I'm sure the investors are backing out. I'm sure they're losing a ton of money. And so my thoughts on why Ebro got cut is he was too expensive. My thoughts are he was way too expensive for them to have. He's been there 13 years. Ebro and Laura and Rosenberg, I'm sure, have a combined following on just Instagram alone of like 1 million followers. I assume Ebro's at like 800 and something by himself. I haven't checked Laura and Rosenberg, but I'm sure they're up there as well. And also with their pick of these new fresh faces that have under 20K followers on all their platforms, I'm pretty sure on all their platforms, they are going to be relatively priced. I think they're going to be like very cheap relative to what Ebro was making and Laura and Rosenberg, because they're new, because they don't have a large following, and they're kind of just now starting out. That's my guess. The stock is not doing good. They probably need to gain investor trust back and probably make some money. Right now, Ebro, I'm sure, has a fat paycheck that's due. So they probably need to save money, right? They probably need to save a good bag. And Ebro was also gaining other facets of work. He also was on Apple Music, which probably ups his stock even more because now his resume is getting very much fleshed out. So I'm sure with contract negotiations, he probably wanted even more money. And they're like, we genuinely can't do that. We're broke. We're not doing good. We're not doing good. We're a parent company, bro. We got to come in and cut. That's like why you got bought out. You had to be cut. So I'm sure that I would say if I had to put my money on it, he got cut because of financial reasons. As well, it probably didn't help if he didn't have good relations with the CEO. I'm sure he didn't have good relations. And maybe they were trying to control his programming and that was causing some issues. But that would be my guess, is financial reasons. That's my thinking on why Hot 97 made a horrible choice. What this means for hip-hop and kind of music in general, I'm kind of concerned that like one of the big four hip-hop conglomerates, in New York at least, might be losing kind of its hip-hop relevancy. That worries me a little bit, given the new picks aren't hip-hop based whatsoever. They might like hip-hop, which could help, but they don't seem to be music-focused or music-based. They're more just commentators, podcasters type characters, which I think can work for a morning show, especially that has kind of like long-running segments and things like that. So I am very confused and concerned about hip-hop's, this affecting hip-hop in some way. However, Ebro, Laura, and Rosenberg did start their own show on YouTube, so definitely go check that out. I haven't watched it yet, but I would check that out. And Ebro has new music like conversations on Apple Music as well, weekly, I believe. So definitely check them out there too. So that space is getting filled in some sort of way with Ebro still, which is beautiful. But it would be cool to still have radio stations that are hip hop based within New York. But I'm not from New York, so I don't have much skin in the game. But just from my outside kind of like ignorant thinking, right? My ignorant thinking. I'm not a big thinker guy, okay? I'm trying to process here. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. Do you think this is like bad for hip hop, or Hot 97 made a bad choice? Please let me know all your thoughts. I could be wrong too, so I appreciate good feedback on like, you're tweaking, bro. This is amazing. This is great. I could believe that. I could see that. So please let me know down in the comments below. As always, if you like the content, make sure you like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. New content coming out, hopefully on a weekly basis with the holidays being over. But as always, I love you guys and appreciate you guys. Peace out. Be smooth.